Hello, everybody, and welcome to Topcon Solutions Store's Revit Briefcase Tools presentation. I'm your host, Vinnie Stamato. I hope you're all having a great time at Autodesk University, and thank you for joining us today. Allow me to introduce myself. I am a Revit certified professional, an Autodesk certified instructor, and an application specialist here at Topcon Solutions Stores. I have over 25 years experience in vertical and horizontal construction. I've worked as a detailer in residential and commercial construction as well. About us. So Topcon Solutions Stores is the retail division of Topcon Positioning Systems worldwide. We are a new concept for a civil survey and construction equipment provider. More than just an equipment house, we deliver the complete field to finish solution through our partnership with Autodesk. We offer Autodesk software sales, technical support and training, local service and repair, as well as a wide range of everyday field supplies for civil construction. So what is the Revit Briefcase, you ask? Well, it's a collection of Revit add-on utilities for architecture, structure, and MEP Revit users, which allows for greater efficiency with many of the most frequently used workflows. And best of all, it's easy to learn, easy to use, and just as easy to implement. So an overview, what you see here is the Topcon Revit Briefcase ribbon. The briefcase contains 8 sets of Revit tools, which are loaded into the Revit ribbon under the TSS Revit Briefcase tab, which is loaded over to the right of the ribbon. Each tool has its own panel, and each panel includes additional variations of that tool. All right, today's agenda. So today, we'll start with an overview of the briefcase, and then we'll dive into some of the most frequently used tools. We're going to look at BIM Query, importing Excel, renumbering, view toggle, project cleanup, and upgrade families. So stand by for just a moment, and I'll get our Revit screen started up over here. Okay. So for this first tool, what I want to show you here is the BIM Query. And just before that, though, I want to take a look at the ribbon. So here is the TSS Revit Briefcase. This is the ribbon for the briefcase. Over here on the far right is the About TSS Revit Briefcase. And then here are the 8 individual panels. And we've got tools like over here, BIM Manager over on the top left. And we've got a bunch of BIM managing tools. We've got BIM Query, Project Cleanup. We've got some analysis tools. We've got reinforcement tools for rebar visibility, things of that nature. Importing a spreadsheet, renumbering tools, modify tools. Here are the view tools. These are the view toggles. View toggles are similar to visibility graphics, only it's got a few more bells and whistles. It's kind of nice. So let's start off with BIM Query. So in this model, I've got these windows, and each window has its instance properties. So I'm going to click on one window and take a look here at my instance properties. So what I want to point out is with this BIM Query tool, I'm going to use it to change instance properties on multiple windows at the same time, all in one fell swoop. So currently, let's see, my frame here is softwood lumber, casement is also softwood lumber, and the windowsill exterior is also softwood lumber. So you could see these windows here. So I'm going to come up to the Briefcase, BIM Query, and I'm going to click on Category, and then I'll type W for Windows, and I'll select my Windows down here, and OK. And now this spreadsheet looking tool will fill up with all my Windows properties. So I'm going to scroll over till I get to my instance properties. So you can see here my casement material, softwood, frame material, softwood, and my windowsill is all softwood lumber. So I'm going to change these, clicking in the cell, click the down arrow, and now I've got my options. And I'm going to scroll up to metal bronze light finish. And I'm going to copy this. All right, folks. 50-50 shot of getting that one right. Okay. Well, thank you for your patience. So let me just back up really briefly here. And thank you, Diana. So here is my Revit briefcase ribbon across the top. And we've got our different tool sets, BIM Manager, QA and QC, reinforcement, annotation, modify, and selection. And for this demo, we're going to look at, as I said earlier, we're going to change the instance properties of multiple instances at once with the BIM Query tool. Now, this is really neat. I just think this is absolutely fabulous. So rather than selecting a window, changing my instance properties over here in my properties, and going to another window or duplicating, I'm just going to come right to BIM Query, and then I'm going to click on Category, and I'll select my windows, and now it's going to load this up with all my window properties. So the ones I want to change are my materials and finishes. So I'm going to change from softwood lumber to metal, lots of materials and finishes in here, metal bronze, and copy it down. All right. And I'll copy this across and copy it down. So these are instance properties, copying it across, copy it down. So we've just changed all these instance properties, and I'm going to move my screen out, my window out of the way. And now I'm just going to hit apply and close. And if you look at the windows, you could see they all changed to that other finish. So once again, that was instance properties, not type properties. I'm going to come over here and just give this guy a rest. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so BIM Query tool, and there's a host of other functions, and just due to time, I'm just going to go through and just show, as many of these as we could get in our half hour here. Next one I want to take a look at is importing an Excel spreadsheet. So let's take a look at this particular model. And I want to import a spreadsheet. I've got a furniture schedule in Excel that I'd like to import into this model and be able to load it up on a sheet and print it out when I create my, my sheet set for the model. So this is a nice tool, right? So everybody's always asking, in classes and such, hey, how do we import, things like Excel spreadsheets? You would think Revit would have an easy tool for that. Well, it doesn't. However, the TSS Revit Briefcase does. So if I come over here to import, import spreadsheet. So now I'm just going to open up my Excel file that I want to import. And I'm going to click over here on my furniture schedule and click open. And here is the furniture spreadsheet that I want to import. So I'm going to click over here on import and update. Let me just check a few things. So right over here, you could see I've got my column width factor and my row height factor. So you could change those. I've got them both set to 1.5, which is about this size. And I'm going to change my line style to just plain lines. And I'm going to click over here on import or update. And now if I come down to my schedules, here is the furniture schedule that I just created and imported in. So when it comes in, it's not going to come in with any of the cells actually showing up. What I'm going to do here is select all my cells, and then I'm going to come up here to borders, and I'm going to add borders to the inside and to the outside using my thin lines, and I'll click OK. And here we go. So now this is our schedule in Revit, and I'm going to click on this furniture schedule text up here at the very top. Click in font. I'm going to make this font just a little bit bigger. And give it a little color there, change it to bold. And if I click back in that cell, click on shading, can make that stand out a little bit. And this one here, it just came in as furniture schedule. And since I had furniture schedule already entered in at the very top of the Excel spreadsheet, it just came in furniture schedule twice. And I could just come in here and go to rename and rename it to whatever I like. So that's bringing in an Excel spreadsheet as a schedule. And we'll let you know at this point, you cannot click on one of these type marks or on any one of these elements and go to find in model. So the spreadsheet is just a standalone schedule spreadsheet. It doesn't link directly to the model with that. Here's a big word for you, the bidirectional associativity, where the schedule matches the components that are in the model and the components in the model match the schedule. So it's not quite there yet, but it does give you this really nice looking schedule that now you could place on a sheet. All right. Bidirectional associativity. I wonder if you guys have heard that one yet, guys and gals. So that's the term, and if you haven't heard it, that's what Revit calls how the model basically reflects the schedule reflects the model, how the different components in the model sort of talk to one another. All right, so next let's take a look at the renumbering tool. This is a real handy one. So I'm going to click on this. You folks may have seen this hotel model once in the early days. So what I've got here is I've got my grid lines, and I've got this little curved wall, and I want to add a grid line right where the wall begins over here. So I'm going to come over and type in GR for grid, and I am just going to add a grid. Now, Revit doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to renumber all these in a really easy way. So this comes in as the next grid in sequential number right after grid number 11. And if I come over here to the renumber tool, I got tools in here like renumber room, mark parameter, renumber views on sheets, and I'm going to choose renumber grid and I get my dialog box. I'm not going to put any text up here, but I can add text up here if I want. I have a choice of numeric or alphanumeric. Initial index is going to be the grid number that I'm going to change this number 12 to. I'm going to change it here to number 6. And then I'm going to force overwrite. And I'm going to click on that. And we're going to chase that grid number 12 all the way across to the very end. And there you have renumbering grids tool. And you could come in and realign these so that they look nice and that they all match up. Pretty handy tool. Next tool I want to take a look at is going to be Renumber views. So we've all done this, you know, we're creating a sheet and we're placing views and then we're adding new views to a sheet. So if I look at my sheet here, I've got over here view number 2, and then I've got view number 1, view 4, 5, 6, view 3. So they're really not in any order. What I'd like to do is I want to put them in order from 1 all the way through view 6. And I'm going to use this Renumber tool right here. And I'm going to click on Renumber Views on Sheets. And I get the same drop-down box. I'm going to go with numeric again. Initial index will be number 1. And I'm going to increment these by 1 each. And I'll click on Mark. And then I'll select my first view to change the number of. Second view. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And there you go. Renumbering view tool, a lot quicker and a lot easier than going in, opening up the view, changing the number, or going to the sheet, changing, you know, the view number and the call out, whatever you got to do to change it. A lot quicker this way. All right. So what have we got next? Oh, well, I'll tell you. What we've got here is we got Renumber views out of the way. We got Renumber on-off toggle. So this is a really cool tool. So this is basically these tools right over here, and it's called the category toggle. Now, the way this tool works, oh, and you can see that we've got our nice little drop-down menus, or I mean our little, tooltips were put into this tool set. So back to category toggle. A category toggle is essentially like a visibility graphics type of a tool, only it's got a lot quicker access and it's got a much broader reach than just visibility graphics. And what I'm going to show you is how I'm going to turn on and off categories in one view. And then they also allow me to turn on and off categories in multiple views at the same time. So let's take a look here. So here I've got this model that we've used earlier, and I want to get in here and move some walls and do some modeling, and I've got all this information that I'd like to turn off. Now I could go through and hide things. I could click on things and, you know, visibility hide here and visibility hide there. Okay, and that's going to work on this one sheet. That's great. However, the view toggle, I could come right over here to the view toggle and say I want to turn off all my tags. Right there, tags are off. And say I want to turn off all my doors. All the doors are turned off. Okay, and if I look at my level 2, same model, tags are also on. And doors are also on. So let me show you a way that I could turn off multiple with just one toggle. So I'm going to come up here to the category toggle, these 2 light bulbs, click on category toggle. And now this opens up all the category names in the model, mechanical, electrical, annotation categories, and all the views. So I'm going to come in here and turn off categories in level 1 and level 2 at the same time. And I'm going to come through and I'm going to select casework. I'm going to turn off my doors. I'm going to turn off my furniture and furniture systems. Generic models turn off. I'm going to turn off my rooms. And I'll scroll down here and I want to turn off my section tool. Here's my sections. And okay, so, and you could go through and turn off so much more, right? Now, if I just hit apply, there we go, and close. And if I go to my other view, same thing. All that extra data turned off in pretty quick order. And once you get used to using that tool, it's going to save you a great deal of time. And now I could get in, I've got my grid lines, I could pick on my walls and move them to where I need to move them to. without all that extra data in the way, and without having to go into the visibility graphics for each level. So if this was, say, a multi-story and I needed to do this kind of editing, in this case, we just got the 2 levels and I was able to turn them off on both. So I think that's really neat, and I hope you do too. Project cleanup. So here's a nice little tool set. Project cleanup, you can see over here on the top left of the ribbon, it's got its little Revit and a broom. And what this is going to do is it's going to remove all of this. Similar to using purge, I could clean up things like any materials that are not being used, any unplaced rooms, unplaced areas, views. We're going to work on cleaning up views here. But you could see here any text notes, subcategories, any dimensions that need to be cleaned up, any fill patterns. So I can come in here and clean my model up. So what I've done here is, well, for starters, I went ahead and turned all this stuff off. Let me turn it back on just so you can see how that works. If I go back to category toggle and I go to my architecture model categories and I click the upper level node, and then I'm going to come down to my architectural annotation. Upper level node turns them all on. I click the on button. I select level 1 and level 2. Apply. And close, and everything's turned back on. Kind of quick and easy. So now what I want to do is I want to clean this up. I'm going to send this off to the owner of the job. And I've got these working views in here. So over here in my browser, I've got these elevation views that are just basically working views. And I don't necessarily want this to be sent out to the client, right? So let's just say, for instance, I've got, some 3D views I want to delete, a bunch of views in here that I want to delete. First thing I'm going to do is save my model. And then I'm going to open it back up, give it a different name. And then I'm going to come over to my BIM manager. And I'm not going to come to BIM manager. I want to come over to view cleanup. Just one second here, folks. Visibility. Nope. Renumber. Oh, project cleanup. I was just looking at it. Okay, I got sidetracked there. So back to project cleanup. I'm going to come over here to my view cleanup, select that. And now this opens up all the views. I could come down here and see all of my drawing sheets that I actually have. So I could say, well, gosh, I need a couple of more sheets or not. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come and delete these 4 elevation views, and I'll select clean. And now it's going to come back and ask me, am I sure these are the views I want to delete? Yes. And if I look back in my browser under the elevations, those views have been cleaned out of the model. So again, project cleanup, view cleanup, all these different categories I could choose from, not just one category. Really handy. And let's see, there's our cleanup. And now this one is a really nice tool. I've used it quite a bit. Actually, I've used it just recently with Revit 2021 coming out. I took a bunch of my families from earlier models, earlier versions of Revit, and upgraded them all in one step to Revit 2021. So what I've got here, if I come over here, I created a folder of families. So I've got these 2020 families. And if I open this up and click on some of these here families, I could see I've got Revit 2020, I've got a 2018 in here, 2020, another 2018 model family. So let's just say, for instance, this is multiple families and multiple folders. This tool will upgrade everything to a 2021. So I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to come back over here to my BIM manager, and I'm going to click on upgrade families. And here we go. So source folder right here up at the very top, it's going to be my 2020 families. If I click over here, I could just scroll through here and find wherever my source is. And in here, options are things like process any subfolders, skip any backup files, copy any other files, text files, JPEGs. And then here's the destination folder. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to say make new folder. And under my Revit 2021 families, new folder number 2. That's where we'll look. And I'll click OK. And then we'll upgrade our families. Now it's telling me here it's going to take a few minutes. Okay, good to know. So the idea here is what's going to happen is these families are going to be imported into this model, which they don't necessarily stay in, and then they get exported right away into that folder. So they're not actually being saved in this model. And if you've got multiple folders and multiple families, it will take some time. So here's this new folder we just created, and here's our families that were upgraded. Let's take a look. These are my 2020 families. File, open. This went right to my desktop. Well, here are, oh, look at that, it didn't do them all. No, that's not what I was trying to find. All right, folks. You know, this works just fine when nobody's watching. So, as you know, if any of you present, you know, as soon as you start presenting, that's when the gremlins come out. So here is the new folder number 2. And I'm just clicking through these guys. And you could see they're all upgraded to 2021. So if I would have had a whole bunch more families in here, you know, you could see very easy to take your family files and, you know, upgrade them from one version to the next. So that's all I've got today, folks. Get my webcam back on over here and reposition my laptop. This working from home has been a pleasure and a real blessing, but it does require some real maneuverability with our machines. So I do want to say thanks, and I'm going to go back to my little PowerPoint here. Once again, I'm Vinnie. When you get a chance, if you visit our TSS trade show homepage, you could take a view of the Revit briefcase, and the briefcase is available. And thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your time at Autodesk University. And if there are any questions, please go ahead. I'll open up my panel over here. There we go. All right. So I'll just let this run out here, folks, for, well, we're at 1:30, so we're at time. Thanks once again.